Put down your baby and pick up a beer. Dad Jokes is back with a brand new episode. You're listening to the podcast of two first-time dads going through the journey of fatherhood while all of you listen to us do it. And I said first-time dads, Brandon, but I am now a second-time dad, as this is the second episode we've had where I have not one but two daughters. And, of course, you have Bryce at home, so we got 3 kids between the two of us now. When we started this, we had 0. So we're either getting older or, I don't know. I think it's just we're getting older. I think that's basically what it is.
You're getting older, Jerry, but it's all good. I got a couple grays coming in. I'm feeling myself.
Oh, I got lots of grays coming in. All on the side, though, none on the beard, so I'll take that.
Oh, I got them right in the I'm growing a beard out, in theory.
In theory. We'll go with in theory. I like it. But you make my beard feel good. Anytime I see yours.
Oh, man, my beard is fine.
I like it. But Brandon, you told right before we got on, you said you had 2 dad jokes. I said I had 2 dad jokes. Do you want to each go with one, or you want to do both yours? And how do you want to do this dad joke thing today?
Let's each do one now and one at the end of the episode. How about that?
Okay.
So I'm gonna start off with my
you go first.
worst
you
one.
lead us off.
Yeah, and it's kind of fitting. What's a dish detergent's favorite time of day? You should get this.
I don't know.
You're
Favorite time of day. Dish 30?
Dawn.
I don't know. Dawn. I was trying to think of I don't know. I like toothpaste just kept coming in my head. I'm like Crest. Like, no, that's not dish soap.
That actually wouldn't have been a bad guess. Kind
That's where my head went.
Colgate would have been a bad guess.
Yeah, I got 2 dad jokes. One's clean, one's kind of dirty. Do you want the clean one now or the dirty one now?
Let's go clean now. Save the dirty one for the end.
Okay, Brandon. What do you call a computer that sings?
Computer that sing? I don't know. I feel like I should get this.
Adele.
See, those are the type of jokes I like. That was clever. I'll laugh at that. Yeah. I would say that to Kelsey, and she'd be like, "No, that's not good enough." But I like that kind of joke.
That one is like a dad joke. You know what I mean? Like, that's like what you think of dad jokes is what I think of. Yeah. So those are good ones. We got 2 more.
Well, no, I'm just thinking about those. You remember those old school Dell commercials?
Yes, dude.
With the guy going to college, dude. Yeah, I'm getting a Dell.
Dude,
I used to want a Dell so bad.
I was a kid. Yeah, it was good marketing because I literally remember being a kid being like, Dells are cool.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Dell. I had a Dell DJ. I know I've told you this before, but that was my MP3 player. I didn't have an iPod. I had a Dell DJ. I did.
I had a Microsoft Zoom.
That's the reason I started working. Oh, my sister had one of those. Yep, Microsoft Zooms. They were going to take over the iPod, knock them out of business.
We're on a heck of a segue right now, but I had so many movies downloaded. I had an 80 gigabyte Zoom.
LimeWire.
I had Drumline on it. I used to watch Drumline.
Oh, yes, Nick Cannon.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, I love that movie too. But Brandon, what's been going on with you guys? What's been going on with the Banks household this last little bit?
Well, Jerry, you typically start off saying, put up your baby, pick up a beer, whatever you say. I should know this. But I normally
we've only said it like 90 times.
I'm normally not drinking on the episode, but they sell these like Jack and Coke in a can at Meijer, and I'm enjoying a couple of them right now. So this is cheers to your bottle of milk. Tastes like Jack and Coke.
Okay.
Like that, I really can't explain it other than that. It tastes exactly like what you think. Like
the last time I had Jack Daniels, someone made me laugh and it went through my nose, and I refused to drink it anymore. So that's what I think of when I think of Jack Daniels.
PTSD.
Yeah, I do.
So, and I know you might get into this, but we did have an eventful week. The highlight of our week, we visited young Miss Avery Alusky. Yes. Bryce had a play date with Peyton. And one thing I'm enjoying, I really think they play well together.
They do.
They're starting to kind of figure each other out. I think Peyton finds Bryce pretty funny and hilarious, and Bryce does the same for her. But they swam around in the pool. They played on the swing, played inside. Generally just had a good time. They ran around the yard, and both of them kept trying to go up into the front yard. So that was fun. So that was a good time. Bryce's uncle Jay is in town, So he came up today. He has a wedding this weekend, so Bryce got to spend some time with him. They had their customary staring contest, but Bryce said both Uncle and Jay.
Really?
He did not say them at the same time. It's funny. I need to try to say this without offending someone, but I was trying to get. He was on FaceTime with Jay yesterday, and I was trying to get him to say Uncle, and it's like his entire brain shut off. Like you could see his mouth moving to say Uncle, but it got stuck just like almost like where the letter U would be, and his mouth is just open like and it was hilarious. Like he kind of just shut down a little bit. But that was that. And then just overall, he's been saying way more words and names. That's on the bright side. He saw his grandmother preach at church for the first time. My mom's a minister, and a lot of times she'll maybe, I'd say 7-8 times a year she'll preach on Wednesday night for the church, but a few times a year she also preaches on Sundays, and that was her time was up, if you will, for this Sunday. So that was fun. He slept right through it. Right after praise and worship, he was starting to get a little restless and tired. My dad is like the sound man at the church, so he was hanging out with my dad, and then he started crying. My dad brought him over to Kelsey and I, and he fell asleep right on mom. So he stayed up long enough to see grandma go on stage, but other than that, he was knocked out the entire time she preached. Woke up right during altar call, so that was great. And then the last thing, on more of a somber note, I guess we've noticed still he has eczema, and that's been cutting up just a little bit. I'm not sure if it's the change in season or the weather or what's going on, but he's been to the doctor twice. They basically recommended an allergist, so we have that coming up, and right now he's taking some cortisone and a steroid they put him on to try to help with the rashes, because it seems like it just flares up at times, but just lasts for days, and it's really affecting like his eyes and the back of his neck, and some areas on his arms too. So something to watch out for, and I'll update you guys once we talk to the allergist. What you guys been up to? I know you have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so we haven't really gone into too much of what we've been up to since we got back home, because last week we went over a lot of the hospital stay. But since we've been home, things have been mostly good. Definitely an adjustment. Anyone who has multiple kids can probably attest to that. But it is funny because a couple of things I kind of hit on first, Brandon, is one, she just turned 19 months, so she's 19 months old, and you think that's not that long ago since she was a newborn, right? But it's like I completely forgot a lot of the newborn stuff, just because like as they grow, you just learn new stuff, and then you're just constantly filling your brain with where they're at. And so like I find myself sometimes like, wait, how often is this kid supposed to eat? When are they supposed to sleep? What are we supposed to be giving them? It's just like
You can go back and listen to some of our first episodes.
I literally was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I need to go back and just listen to some of this stuff. But that's kind of funny. One thing, I noticed. And then the big thing too is a lot of people have asked me like, what's the biggest difference? And I think the biggest difference is it's just time in general. When you just have one, like when Peyton was a newborn, even though she was colicky, Macy could have her and maybe I could get some stuff done, or I'd have her, she'd get some stuff done. And you could focus all your time and attention on them. And if something, like let's say there was an issue, I could look it up or research it while Macy had her. Well, now, Peyton is a handful herself with no newborn, but now you're doing all the newborn stuff. Plus you have the kid running around. You're constantly busy. There's very, very little downtime, and the days just go, they're gone. You don't even know. And then if you do get any free minutes, you're trying to do the dishes, do the laundry. So, time is definitely a big adjustment, but Avery definitely has her own personality, which is cool. She is definitely, I should start by saying she's a better sleeper, and knock on wood, so far, a little over 2 weeks in, tends to be a little bit better mannered kid than Peyton was, meaning she doesn't seem to be colicky. She sleeps decently well, but she is. We call her Angry Avery because when she's awake, she tends to be mad, and she has some lungs on her. She's got a loud scream. And so, and right now we've noticed that her witching hour tends to be kind of like maybe around 7 to 10:30, and she just when
That's
she's
a
awake,
long time.
yeah, she
You
tends
talking about
to be,
PM?
yeah, PM, which of
Yeah,
course
I
is
was
right, like when you're getting Peyton ready for bed and stuff. But
Right
she was
now.
really crying, yeah, when I came down here, but she tends to be, angry sometimes when she's awake. Now she loves being swaddled. If you swaddle her and you hold her, it tends to work out pretty well for you. You can put her down. Like this is what you could never do with Peyton. You can put her down, and she will take naps. But if she's kind of awake, she doesn't want to be down. She doesn't want to be in a swing. She doesn't want to be in a chair, like the little bouncy chair, nothing. No, she wants to be held. But if she's kind of going to sleep, you can put her down in like the bassinet, swaddled. You have to have her swaddled, and she's usually pretty content. And she'll sleep sometimes she'll take a 2-hour nap, maybe even a 3-hour nap. So she will sleep. But
Yeah, she was knocked out when we were over there.
matter. Yeah, and then at night it's been a little bit of an adventure. She has good nights and bad nights. We've had a couple nights, I think 2, where she's woken up once, which is just huge. That's about as good as it can get, right? But we've also had nights where she's woken up 4 or 5 times, or where she's woken up maybe only 2 or 3, but she takes an hour to get down. Or an hour and a half to get down. So we've had good and bad. I would say mostly she's been okay, So some of it's good, some of it's bad. It's better than it was with Peyton for sure, but I don't know that I would call it, she's great. She's had good nights where she's definitely been great. But like I said, like last night, she was, she only woke up I think twice, but she like took like an hour and a half or 2 hours to go down the one time. So, that's pretty rough when it's all said and done, right? So she's sleeping decently well. It's funny. She's got like I said, part of the reason we call her Angry Avery. She also looks grumpy a lot, which is funny. It's cute, but it's like she's got kind of like this scowl on her, which is funny. But she's starting to come out.
Have you started to see any? I was about to say, have you started to see any of the features start to come out? I know it normally takes a couple of weeks after.
She's
birth.
just starting to get to that point. So like she started kind of doing almost a smile the last few days. And she kind of has some different looks now, and I kind of told Macy this. It's funny because you almost forget it, and now looking back at pictures, you remember. Like I look back at pictures of Peyton when she was this age, but like the first week or so, I don't want to say they don't look like how they're going to look, because they're still trying to like basically form into their body.
I'm starting to see it with Avery. You guys posted some pictures earlier.
Correct. Now you're starting to see where I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where she's going to look like. And even with Peyton, like if I look at Peyton from her first week or 2, I'm like, that doesn't look like her. But once you got to like, okay, into the 2-month part, you really started to see, features like she looks now. And I think Avery's just at the beginning of that, but it's kind of cool. Her hair is really cute. She's got a lot of hair, not as much as Peyton, but a lot, but it's different. It's lighter. It's more fluffy than hers was. She's got like a really round face. Her eyes are super blue right now. So she's starting to get some features. And the biggest difference is she's big, right? So we've had a couple doctor's appointments. She was born at 9 pounds, 12 ounces, lost like over a pound though from when she was born to her first doctor's appointment, and almost has gained that whole thing back. So, which is good. She's doing good on the weight scale. So she's like 88th percentile in weight, I think, or maybe even more than that. And she's pretty good on height now too, and her head's like right in the middle. But she's growing well. Eating wise, this is kind of good for Macy for sure. She struggles a little bit to latch, but once she latches, she's efficient. She eats in about sometimes it's like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and then she cashes out. Where Peyton would eat for 45 minutes almost all the time. Yeah. No, Avery's like sometimes like if she eats for like 10 to 12 minutes, that's a long time. So that's good, and she seems to be getting a lot. So
it almost sounds like she's the exact opposite of Peyton at this stage, like across the board.
She's very different than her sister for sure. So, she's eating well, which is good, and she likes to be bounced. She likes to be held, which is good. And then Peyton definitely is obsessed with her. She thinks it's her baby. She wants to be by sister. She wants to check on her. She wants to point out her nose and her mouth and her ears. When she's crying, she wants to check on her, make sure she's okay. If you're holding her, she wants to be near you so she can lay next to her and look at her, which is good. The only downside of that, and I think I mentioned this last week too, is Peyton has been super emotional though. So it's like the things that normally might just be like a small little annoyance. Now she's just the world's ending, right? And she's got a lot of highs and lows right now. So
so are we after we see the baby more. It's kind of crazy.
She's definitely, you can tell, adjusting to it. But as far as like her with the baby, I gotta say it's been better than even I could have dreamed, because she doesn't have any of the, like, a lot of times they'll say like some kids will like ignore the baby or almost pretend like the baby doesn't exist. That's not her at all. Or they'll almost be like resentful towards her. That's not her at all. So that, in that regard, is good. She'll hold the baby. She'll give the baby kisses. She won't give me or Macy a kiss, but she'll give the baby a kiss. She's so funny. She gives baby dolls kisses. She makes her dolls kiss all the time. She'll give the dog a kiss. She'll give Avery a kiss, but she won't give me or Macy kisses. She'll give us hugs all day long, but like she won't give us kisses. I don't know why. It's kind of goofy.
It's funny that you mentioned like how she reacts around the baby, because one thing we were interested to see, Kelsey actually was able to hold Avery for a good amount of time. I think she had it for probably like at least 30 minutes. But
she was really well behaved when you guys were over.
Yeah, she was great. Kelsey's still talking about that. But
Yeah,
we were interested to see how Bryce reacted, and that's our first time with him seeing his mom. And I don't know if it was because we were outside having a good time. He could have cared less, or he couldn't have cared less. He looked one time. And I actually made a point. Hey, Bryce, look, your mom's cheating on you. She got another baby over there, and he didn't care. He was playing with the water table, playing in the pool, playing with the swing. So I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but he wasn't whining.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any like actual science behind this, but I've heard multiple people say it. So it could just be like a misnomer type thing. But people say that girls tend to do better with siblings or take more of an interest than boys do. And again, I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I've heard a lot of people tell me that. So maybe there's something to that. And we also have another friend who just had a baby, and they have another small child, and the child's a boy, and he wants nothing to do with the kid. So I mean, I guess that would add up in that scenario. But yeah, I mean, she's been good in that regard. And don't get me wrong, it's not like every second she wants to be by Avery. She definitely plays by herself and still does her own thing. But if we're like, hey, do you want to say goodnight to Sissy? You know, do you want to come, give Avery a kiss? She'll run over. Like she's very interested in that. And the other day they were wearing matching pajamas, and she thought it was like really cool. She like realized it and was like, oh, I got pajamas on. She's got the same ones on,
How's Raja reacted?
Good. She's good with kids in general. I think she's definitely like, she wants attention. Again? Yeah, I mean, I think she wants attention, because it's hard. She used to get a ton of attention. She was the only one, right? And then it was a little bit less, and probably now even more less. So I've tried to do a couple, I'm trying to be more conscious of taking her for walks and things of that nature. But she's been great. Like, she's great with the kids. And Peyton now more than ever is like, she'll, like today, she sat on her head like 3 times. Like not like being mean. Like she's like, Roger's laying behind her, and she just went to sit down like on her. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, leave the dog alone. But so Peyton's constantly like stepping on her or whatever, like has no regard for the dog's well-being, and Raja's great with it. So she's good. There's no complaints.
The cool
there.
thing about where Bryce is right now is I always just in the back of my head was worried about how he would interact with Riley as he got older. Mm-hmm. Because kids can be jerks, and like,
oh yeah,
it's one thing for a baby to do it, and it's not necessarily as impactful. But he's I have nothing to compare it to, but he's strong to me, and I feel like he could actually like pull a significant amount of hair off if he pushes Riley. Riley moves a little bit, right. But man, the last couple weeks they have legitimately been playing with each other. Like, Bryce understands the concept of if he throws a ball, Riley will go get it. Riley brings it back to him. That's fun when they
do that, yeah.
It's great. He brings it back to him, he'll drop it, and it's hard for me to. I didn't grow up with dogs, so almost even now, I'm still cautious when I'm like, and I know my dog, but if I'm grabbing like a toy out of a dog's mouth, this dude goes in with no inhibitions at all.
Yep.
he doesn't know any better. But
Correct.
I mean, Riley's not doing anything, but he'll stick his hand all the way in his mouth, grab a toy,
Right.
take it out, like laugh as hard as you ever heard him laugh, and then throw the ball again. So that's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, Peyton loves to play catch with Raja, and she thinks Raja's hilarious too. The funny part is, like, Peyton loves Raja and thinks she's hilarious until she like decide she's just mad at Raja for no reason. But like at night especially, she'll like throw her tennis ball, but she's so funny. She'll grab it from Raja, she'll run like, I don't know, 15 yards for no reason, and then throw it, and then Raja's like, okay. She'll run and grab it, and she just cracks up, like you said, like just dying laughing, and then just like does it again. The problem with Raja in that is Peyton is grabbing her toys, but Raja loves to play tug of war. So she's not great at dropping stuff. Not because she like tries to bite you or anything, but she just wants to like play tug of war, even if it's a ball. So then like sometimes Peyton's trying to grab it and Raja's trying to, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be bad because Raja tug of war is tough. Like she's a lab and she will use her whole body.
Oh, she's strong.
But she does a pretty good job with it. And we've gotten it to the point where Raja, like, if we're like, be nice, she'll drop it and she won't like do anything. But Peyton's always grabbing her toys. So poor Raja, anytime she grabs something and she's just even trying to play by herself, Peyton thinks it's hers. And then she like thinks it's funny. And like sometimes like Raja's like, okay, yeah. But then sometimes Raja's like, oh, are we playing? And then Peyton's like, no, I just wanted to grab your toy. So we're living in Peyton's world. That's basically the story of it. But she definitely loves the dog.
And it's funny. We spent all this money on baby toys, and really the baby gear. I'm not even gonna do baby gear this week. The baby gear is, if you got a dog, just throw all your dog toys on the ground because that's all your kids are gonna want to play with anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but another thing too Brandon, is we had newborn picks today, which was an experience. So Avery was actually
that
really
was today.
good.
They got those picks up quick.
Yeah, I know, it was this morning. But Avery did good. Other than it's funny because she likes to sleep a lot, and normally, like I said, if she's awake, she's kind of cranky. She was awake like the whole time, not cranky, but they want the babies to sleep in the pictures, so that was a little difficult. But Peyton was a little bit of a terror during it, like, so that was a whole thing. It was definitely more difficult, I felt like, than the first time. So Avery was good, but Peyton wasn't. But we got good pictures. They came out nice. So we're definitely happy. But I thought it was going to be like, oh, we're going to be taking pictures for 30, 45 minutes. No, it was over 2 hours. So that was I guess Dad didn't know any better. So anyone out there doing newborn pictures and you got more than one kid, it might take longer than you think, because I found it the hard way, for sure. And one other thing I want to touch on really quick, Brandon, is sometimes they say when you have a kid and then you bring a baby home that the older kid will regress, right? And we haven't necessarily noticed it with most things, but one thing that we're a little bit worried about is Peyton from a very, very young age was saying a bunch of words. And then as she got older, she was saying words, but she would also babble a lot. Well, now she talks nonstop, but it's almost exclusively like babbling, incoherent type of words. And she says very few and like basically since the baby's been home, she'll talk, but she says very, very few words now. Now she comprehends like everything. Like she comprehends a ton right now. Like if I ask her to do something, she knows what I'm talking about. If I tell her, she like knows character. She knows, like certain things. She knows how to go grab your water or go see Sissy or who mom and dad. She knows all this stuff. Go upstairs to brush her teeth. She knows all these different things. But she's like not talking as much, or at least saying like words like we are. So, we might look at, we're going to talk to the doctor, but we might look at like maybe seeing if we should get her involved with maybe like a speech therapist, or what the steps should be there. I mean, she's still only 19 months, and it doesn't seem like it's a major concern because she does have all the comprehension and she can say words, but we're just trying to not be behind it, because they do say that if your child does have like a speech delay or anything, the earlier you get involved, it can actually be better, and the better odds of kind of overcoming that. So we're at the very beginning of that, but that's something we noticed, and it also could be related to the baby coming home too. But it's odd with her speech, because it's almost like she's gotten worse since even like months ago, as far as talking. Now comprehending, she's better than she ever has been. She knows, like I said, almost everything, but it's saying the stuff. But she thinks she talks to you 24/7, but nobody has any idea what she's saying. So I don't even know where she gets these words from, what she'd be saying.
So I will say, for us, I think we actually saw a fairly similar regression, but it was so like the actual words were harder to understand, if that makes sense. So he was saying less words, but his babble jumped up a ton. And then it felt like this also coincided with what I would call like the after 18-month leap, that they don't necessarily tell you about, but you start Googling or going on Reddit and like, why is my kid acting like this? And it's like, yeah, we went through this too. And then once I feel like he came out of that, and this is when like language is exploding as well. So like he's stringing words together. He's still doing a ton of the babbling. And the funny thing about the babbling is like, and I think at this point, at the point you're at now, I feel like we kind of went through that. But the funny thing about it is they like I was having him go up the stairs today, and I'm telling him go, and we got our thing, and we do the same thing every day when we're going up the stairs, and then he turns around and looks at me and says something, like his face is animated. He says what he's saying. He believes in whatever he's saying.
Exactly.
And I was like, what? And he repeated like 3 times the exact same babble.
Correct.
Like, so they think that they think they're saying something, which is hilarious.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
It'll be the exact same gibberish.
The
Like Peyton does it all the
exact
time.
same
She'll because everything with her is a question, and she's very animated. She's always like, why or what? And she'll say the exact same, like 7 or 8 words, but it's the exact same. Like I could record her and you wouldn't know the difference, but it's like none of it makes sense after what or why. She says what and why at the beginning of everything, or so. She says so a lot. So, and then if you like ask her, she goes like all the time. Like she'll and she thinks she's responding, and it's just like but it's so hard to understand what she's saying. It could be it's just odd because it's like I don't know if we're being paranoid or if like I should be concerned because she thinks she's saying something and it's not even close to words.
Well, and the general rule of thumb for us right now. So this is the first time we're going through this. So I always would rather err on the side of talking to somebody who sees this day in, day out and can say, hey, y'all tripping. This is normal. Like,
right.
You're good. You rather get that confirmation or start her on something because that's very common as well.
Yeah, it is. And the thing that's frustrating for us is that they always say like one of the best ways to combat it is to read, and we literally read so much to her and have since before she was born. It's crazy, and she loves books. So like she literally, I mean, we read so many stories. So you know, but obviously it's not like it's just foolproof. But it's like, man, you know, we read so much, and she knows how to point to stuff in the books, and she knows what books she likes and stuff like that too. It's just the speech thing. But we'll get there. Even like with walking with her was a little bit of a journey, you know. And now she sprints everywhere. So you know, it's just. Sometimes they go at their own speed, but you want to make sure you're, like you said, you want to make sure that you're not hurting them by being overconfident or whatever. You know, you want to make sure that you're giving her all the tools that she needs to be successful. So that's something.
And by the time Avery's this age, you're gonna be hoping that Peyton shuts up probably.
Oh,
she's
probably.
Gonna be almost 4 or no 3, almost 3.
Yeah.
Math
well, I will tell you, Brandon. One thing I'm excited for you to experience one day is when you have multiple kids and they both decide to scream at the same time, because that is a new
I
experience
actually
too.
would
It's probably
probably get a kick out of that.
The first few times I've cracked up. It is funny because it's like almost like a what is our life type like situation, but it is funny. It's almost like a contest. So the other day, like Peyton was screaming, Avery was screaming, and the dog howls when Peyton cries because she doesn't like it. So the dog's howling, and like me and Macy, like we can't even talk to each other. So like we both were dying laughing because it was like, what the heck is going on? And there was like in those situations where the newborn, you're not going to calm her down unless you probably feed her. Peyton was in a situation where it's going to take her a minute or two to calm down. You know her, and the dog's not going to shut up until they shut up. So it was just like, let's laugh for a minute, and then hopefully this calms down. And
enjoy the moment.
But
well, you're talking about
funny.
screaming, and both of them doing that at the same time. Have you had to have dual number 2 diaper changes yet?
Yeah. Well, Avery poops a lot. That's another thing I forgot how often newborns go to the bathroom. But I think even for a newborn, she goes to the bathroom a lot. This is what I forgot though, Brandon. And this is crazy. Macy disagrees with me, which is actually a good thing. I prefer doing Peyton diapers, which is crazy. Like, don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
they're gross
you crazy.
and they're
You
nasty.
crazy.
But like with Peyton, I'm efficient. It's
Bruh.
quick. Like boom, boom. With the
Newborns
newborn,
don't move.
oh no. One, she moves. Avery moves like a crazy person. Two, I've never met a child in my entire life that hates their diaper change more than Avery. She hates it. She will scream bloody murder. She will try to roll, which you're 2 weeks old. Why are you trying to roll already? And she can't stand it. And then, like, I feel like because it's so small, like, I don't have my groove, like, you know, like, I'm trying to put the diaper underneath it. And I'm, like, trying to, I don't know. I don't have my flow yet with her. So I feel like lately I've been doing a ton of Peyton's diapers, and Macy's been doing more of Avery's. And don't get me wrong, I still do some of Avery's, and she does some of Peyton's. But that's a whole thing. And also, the amount of diapers we have is obscene because you have to have 2 different sizes, and it's crazy. I don't know. And Avery's never really fit into newborn. She was in size 1 pretty much from the hospital. And another fun fact too, Brandon, the other day, Macy sent me a picture. This was a couple days ago, so I don't even know if she was 2 weeks yet. But Avery, at let's call it 2 weeks, was wearing the same outfit that Peyton was wearing at 4 months. And fitting
That's
in it
nuts.
the same way. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy? Literally 4 months, and she was 2 weeks. So she's a big girl.
Well, at least you got the clothes.
Yeah, we do. So it's she definitely can fit into pretty much 0 to 3 is what she wears. She doesn't really wear newborn stuff. Never really did.
Which is funny because I think, how long was Peyton in newborn?
Forever. Like,
Yeah.
It seemed like forever. Yeah. And then Peyton pretty much skipped everything. She was in 0 to 3 and newborn stuff for forever. And then, like, I think it was like she was in 3 to 6 for a long time too, but then she like never did 6 to 9. It was like it almost didn't happen. She like surpassed that very quick. So, but yeah, I feel like Avery, well, we'll see what she does, but she might be a little bit different, closer to what Bryce was.
So I got a couple more questions for you. Maybe one more. What do you feel like so far is one thing or one lesson you've learned since becoming a father or two?
I think, the key where right now for father two is I think that, Peyton's very structured, right? We kind of have a schedule. We know what she has. Well, with the newborn, they don't have that yet, and you can't really get them on that yet. So I think the key is to try to, like, what the lesson I've learned is kind of like, if you can have, if I can have Avery and she's being calm and I can put her down, take advantage of it, right? And if I can have her where I need to hold her in a certain way, like basically whatever the baby is letting me do that, because Peyton's going to be on her schedule, right? I'm not probably not messing with that too much. So take what the baby gives you. Don't try to make the baby fit into something. And that's kind of worked out well for us. Because with Peyton, I think some of our problem was like, we didn't want to put her down, right? Or you were constantly worried. Well, if Avery's letting us put her down, okay, let's put her down. If she gives us 10 minutes in the swing, let's try the 10 minutes in the swing. If she needs to be held, okay, let's hold her while we have Peyton, downstairs so she's not getting into trouble. Whatever we can do to like make it so that we don't have two crazinesses going on, we're trying to do. So that's worked out fairly well for us. And like I said, for the most part, Avery works well. She can be cranky and fussy, but usually if you hold her or bounce her or something, you can find a way. And a lot of her fussiness is at night when Peyton's already kind of going to sleep. So.
Is there a piece of baby gear that you forgot about
actually,
that you're using?
That's my piece of baby gear this week. So there's two things. One, like I said, she absolutely loves to be swaddled, which is kind of nice because Peyton, we tried, but she just hated everything.
I forgot about swaddles.
Swaddles, right. So one, I can't say enough good things about the Ollie swaddle. I know we bought it before and we kind of we're like, oh, this works for Peyton, but let's be honest, nothing worked for Peyton. But that swaddle is easy to use, one, which not all swaddles are, and it seems to calm her down, and so that swaddle's great. That
was our go-to too,
Correct.
And we went through a lot of swaddles.
Yep. The other swaddle I will mention, which is a second piece of baby gear that we've used a little bit more this time, is the Nanit swaddle. Nanit has its own swaddle, which is nice because, one, it's actually a pretty good swaddle. I actually like it. Not quite as much as the Ollie, but it has the breathing on there. So at nighttime, it's really nice because you want to monitor your baby's breathing and stuff like that. It kind of two birds with one stone. So instead of having to use one of those bands or anything, we've done that. And that swaddle, I don't think we ever use that for Peyton, but it's worked out fairly well for her. So a couple swaddles that have been very good. And then another thing I'll mention, I didn't even plan on this, but something that we didn't do a lot with Peyton, but Macy's done a lot with Avery is the wrap. And I don't even know the name of it. I can think of it for next episode, but she's baby wore Avery a lot more, and Avery responds to it better, and I think Macy kind of likes it better with her for whatever reason. So that's done well. I know Kelsey did a lot of that with Bryce, but we've done more of that for sure with Avery than we did with Peyton.
So I said one more question, and I asked like three more. But
no, you're good.
You brought up the nanit. How is dual nanit life? Because I haven't explored that. Is it split screen? Is one of you guys have one of you have the other? So
they have split screen, which is typically what we do. Sometimes Macy will tell me, "Hey, I'm just going to have Avery on mine," and then I'll keep the split screen up because Peyton's pretty good. The split screen works well. The only thing about it is like you can't so when you go to split screen on a nanit, you can't go into each individual one. You basically have to close out of it and then go into each individual one, and then you can't see the breathing stuff when you're on it. It's still measuring, so it'll alert you if it's not, but you can't see it, which is why Macy likes to sometimes just look at Avery's. But it's worked out fairly well. It's really good, especially if they're taking naps or something. It works out well, but it's gone. It was easy to set up. That's been great. I think that's going to work out really well for us going forward. I can't say enough.
So when you guys have 3 under 3, are you going triple screen? Or you need a bit. You need
Macy
a bigger
actually
iPad.
Asked me that. That's weird because she asked me that. She goes, "Can you have 3?" I go, "I don't know. I'm not worried about that right now." Hopefully, if we ever do have a third, we wouldn't even need a third baby cam, but who knows? I don't know, but I don't think so. I will tell you that our backup baby camera that we always had on the crib that my parents use and my in-laws use, we had to take off the crib the other day because Peyton started dragging the cords into the crib with her, which is definitely a hazard. So that's no longer on the crib. So yay for that. She's starting to jump and do crazy stuff in that crib.
I remember this is a weird little segue story, but Bryce was young, and Kelsey had to go into work super early. So he was still sleeping in our room at the time. And on her side of the bed, she has the world's longest iPhone cord. She's going to be pissed I'm telling this story. So what she did was she basically pulled, he was still sleeping in our room. So she pulled his the pack and play he was sleeping in closer to the bed, and I was still knocked out. I think she left for work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do not wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work. Just for work. Jerry wakes up at 4:45 to work out, and then twiddles his thumbs for an hour, and then goes to work.
Yeah.
But so all I hear is hilarious. All I hear is through the nanit. I'm dreaming. And I hear through the nanit speaker, which is not loud at all.
No.
Just a weird yelling. And Kelsey had been watching Bryce on a nanit. I think she had just gone back, and he had grabbed the cord somehow and was playing with it, the cord from her iPhone. And she was trying to FaceTime me. I wasn't answering. I was knocked out. But in my dream, I heard her yelling. And I jumped up real quick, saw what was going on, grabbed it before he could do anything. But that was a pointless story, but it was
they figure stuff out. Dude,
it was crazy because he was young.
Well, that's the crazy part about this is she's been she's pretty self-sufficient now, in her crib, but she grabbed that cord, which she'd never done before, and all of a sudden it was yep, we can't do that because we're more. I mean, it sounds bad, but you're paying more attention to the baby, on the baby monitor right now than her. You're just trying to see if she's asleep or listen if Peyton makes noise, but you're not really watching her closely because it's she's good. She knows what she's doing, right?
She does this.
Yeah. So that's crazy. So yeah, but that's life with 2 right now. We're 2 weeks in and we're starting to find our groove, Brandon. It's definitely interesting, and it's a lot of it's fun, but it's tiring too. That's another thing too. Obviously, you got a newborn, your sleep patterns and the amount of sleep you get is gonna vary, and so the brokenness sleep and all that. It's it'll weigh on you a little bit. You get tired quicker, but we're making it through. And the funny thing too, last thing, Brandon, I'll say is, I think I told you last week that I felt like with Avery, I was more patient. I think going through it, it's like after I said that, something switched, because now all of a sudden I feel like the last few days I've been less patient. I don't know why. Like, it's just like, so it goes to show you that being a dad, like, you can have like ups and downs, but like, I don't know if it's just because all the craziness now, sometimes like Avery will cry and it seems like this for no reason. I'm like, I don't know what you want. Cause at least now when Peyton cries, I usually know, but when she's crying, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So what are you upset about? Like, you don't have a dirty diaper. You just ate. Life's good. Let's chill out. So yeah.
Well, the only thing I'm losing patience with since you guys had your baby are people asking me when me and Kelsey are having a second. So that is getting quite annoying.
Yeah, people have no chill when it comes to that. I mean, we literally had Avery, and it was not an easy delivery and pregnancy. And instantly people are like, oh, so when are you guys going to try for a third? Or even more like blunt, oh, are you guys going to try?
Can we talk about how weird of a question that is? I've never asked anybody that in my entire life. And just to think, I want everybody listening to think about the context of asking someone when they're going to try. Try.
Yeah. What are you really asking them?
Yeah. It's weird.
Exactly. It is weird. And it's also like the biggest point to that, not to get on our soapbox or anything, Brandon, but the biggest point to that is there are millions of people, and maybe I'm exaggerating, but I don't think I'm exaggerating, millions of people who struggle to get pregnant and go through very real things with that kind of stuff. So imagine if you're asking someone and they are trying and it's not working, that's probably not helping. So, be
I'm the
conscious
type
of
of
that
person,
too.
I will look you dead in your eye and tell you that.
Yeah, it's just
actually we are, but it's not working.
Correct. Like, it just seems like that's, and people tend to think that like if you have a kid that you can't have complications after that. That's
not
very,
true
very not true at all. There's people that have had kids, multiple kids, and then have tons of, you know what I mean? Like, so anything can happen. So I don't care if someone's got 1 kid, 5 kids, no kids. You don't necessarily
just mind your business.
Mind your business. So that's what I got. But Brandon, I think you said you had a piece of baby gear when we started. What is that piece of baby gear?
So we've talked about my father's Mercedes before, and the fact that because of that, Kelsey and I bought Bryce a push car that was a matching Mercedes, and it's great. We've posted pictures of it. Bryce loves it. My mom bought Bryce a motorized matching AMG Mercedes-Benz. Same color, same model, same rim, same everything. And it has a remote, and my dad just wheels him around the yard and the street and the cul-de-sac. And it's so now Bryce has 2 cars and one that my dad's probably going to pass on to him.
Nice. I like it. Bougie.
It is bougie.
Mercedes
that was my dad's
family.
retirement car. He bought that instead of a Corvette.
I like it. Well, Brandon, I think that's a good place to kind of go wrap up and go into our final dad joke, since we both have an additional dad joke. Why don't you kick it off?
Jerry, what do you call a group of shawarmas?
Lamb.
No.
I don't know.
A rap battle.
Oh, okay. I get it.
A rap battle.
Okay.
Chicken
Are you ready
shawarma.
for mine?
It's a rap.
All right. So, Brandon, when we were going over names, when we were thinking about what to name our next daughter, a lot of names came up, and one of the most popular things, I think I told you this, is I like names you can shorten, or nicknames, right? I don't like just a generic, that's your name, right?
This is a heavy setup.
Well, this is true. So, anyways, what I started thinking about, though, was like, I never understood how you get the name Dick from Richard. So how do you get Dick from Richard? You know how? Yes, nicely.
Well, people don't. That was a big deal for Jerry to say that joke. It's pretty good.
I thought it was funny. I read that. I was like, nice.
That is actually hilarious. You win this week.
There we go. But yeah, I was gonna say this joke last week,
90.
and I'm like, the week we announced the
Not on
birth
Avery's
of my
episode.
daughter, I didn't want to do that. Listen back one day and be like, "Oh, Dad, why are you making that joke?" But anyways, that's the joke. So, For anyone out there, though, that hasn't listened to us in the past, thank you for listening to us now. Please continue to listen. Or if you haven't already liked us on Facebook, Instagram, written a review for us, please do so. Tell us what you want to listen to. If you have any topics or any ideas or any pieces of baby gear you want us to go over, we would love to do that. I know I've heard from probably 5 or 6 people this last week alone, Brandon, of kind of telling me that they are trying to catch up on some of our episodes, and they were mentioning some things, so that was kind of cool to hear from some people. So we love hearing from each and every single one of you. Honestly, we do. So never feel like you can't reach out. We will definitely respond to you as soon as we hear it. So, but until next time, I'm Jerry, joined here as always by Brandon, and you've been listening to Dad Jokes.